Here are the notes for Chapter 7, Section 4. The first term is monomial, and a monomial is one term. Examples of a monomial are just a number like 5, or we could have x, or we could have x to the 10th, or we could have 25x squared, y to the 5th, z to the 4th. Those are all monomials because they have one term. And I'm going to jump down here in our notes to term, just to define that. A term is separated by an addition or subtraction sign. So a term is separated by an addition or a subtraction sign. One of the first things we're going to look at is the degree of a monomial, and the degree is the sum of the exponents of the highest term. So we have to add up all the exponents in each term. Terms are separated by addition or subtraction signs, and then we have to find the highest one. First one, exponent here is, if there's no exponent, it's understood to be a 1, so that degree would be 1. This one, 10y squared, the degree would be 2. Number 3, if we add 3 plus 2, this is 5. That one is just a 1. And now we have to pick which one's higher. That one's higher. So the degree is 5. For number 4, 2 plus 5 is 7. 1 plus 1 is 2, and that is just a 2. So the degree of that polynomial would be 7. Number 5, y squared z, understood there's a 1 there, so that degree would be 3. X, y to the 5th, 1 plus 5 is 6, so that degree would be 6. This is a 2, 5 plus 3 is 8, so that degree is 8. Number 8, 1 plus 4 is 5. 1 plus 1 is 2, and that's a 3. The highest of those is the 5, so the degree of that polynomial is 5. To write a polynomial in standard form, we start with the highest exponent, highest degree, and go down to the lowest degree. So highest degree to the lowest degree. And remember, each term is separated by a plus or minus sign. Examples 9 and 10, we are asked to write each polynomial in standard form. As we look at this, this is our highest degree, so we would have negative 5x to the 3rd. Next, plus 5x squared plus 4x plus 2. If you look at the exponent on the x, it goes 3, 2, 1, and then there's no x. So that goes, that's in standard form from the highest degree on down. And number 10, we would do 7x to the 3rd. And then I would do the 5xy, because that has an x in it, and then subtract the 9y squared. Now we can name polynomials a special name according to their degree or the number of terms they have. If the degree is 0, it's called a constant. And if an exponent has a degree of 0, it would be like 5x to the 0. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So that's actually a 5. It's a constant. It never changes. Might be a 10, might be a 12. The exponent, if there is no variable, it's called a constant. If the exponent is 1, like y equals mx plus b, that is a linear, and that is the general equation for a line. If the exponent is 2, like y equals x squared, that is a quadratic. If something is to the 3rd power, it's cubic. The 4th power is quartic. The 5th power is quintic. And anything higher than that, we would just say 6th degree, 7th degree, 8th degree, etc. Now, if we are classifying according to the number of terms, if there is 1 term, it is called a monomial. Prefix mono means 1. 2 terms is a binomial. 3 terms is a trinomial. And anything more than that is just called a polynomial. And we have 4 examples down here. This has 2 terms, so that would be a binomial. Our highest degree is 1, so that would actually be a linear binomial. Number 13, our highest degree is 3, so that will be a cubic. And there are 3 terms, so that will be a trinomial. 14, our highest degree is 4, so that will be quartic. And there are 3 terms, so that will be a quartic trinomial. 15 is kind of a trick question. We need to combine these like terms, and that would become a 9x squared plus a 5x plus 3. So this is actually a quadratic trinomial. A quadratic trinomial. On the back side of your notes, an application problem. A tourist accidentally dropped his keys off the Golden Gate Bridge. Bridge is 220 feet from the water of the bay. The height of the keys is given by this polynomial, negative 16t squared plus 220, where t is the time in seconds. And our question is, how far above the water will the keys be after 3 seconds? Well, if we put the number 3 in for time, you will have negative 16 times 3 squared plus 220. You can plug that right into your calculator, and that answer is 76 feet. 17 and 18 are a review about combining like terms. 17, 4x plus 2x. Since your variables are exactly the same, you can add those and get 6x. 18, 5p minus 6p squared. One of those variables has an exponent of 2, one has an exponent of 1, so you cannot combine those. And the last thing we're going to look at today is adding and subtracting polynomials. Number 19, these are like terms. If the terms are the same, you add or subtract the numbers in front. Keep the exponents the same. 20, subtract 3 is a 17x squared plus a 7x. Number 20, we have those 2 like terms. 16 plus 4 is 20 m to the 4th. Negative 8 plus 2 is a subtract 6. Number 21, since this is an addition problem, these parentheses don't make a difference. 4y squared plus y squared is 5y squared. We have this one term of subtract y, careful with your negatives, and then 5 plus 6 is 11. We're going to skip to number 23 next, and we need to distribute. If you distribute, this becomes 10a to the third plus 6a squared minus 12a plus 24a squared. So I multiplied everything in that set of parentheses by 2. And then we will add a 7a squared and subtract a 10a. And from here, we need to combine like terms. We have a 10a to the third. There's nothing else that's to the third power. 6a squared plus 24a squared plus 7a squared. 6 plus 24 is 30. Plus another 7 is 37a squared. And negative 12a, negative 10a would be a negative 22a. Questions 22, 24, and 25 are subtracting, and you need to be careful to distribute that subtract over the whole quantity. That will become 10xy plus x. Subtracting a negative becomes a plus 3xy, and subtracting a negative becomes a plus y. 10xy plus 3xy is 13xy. Then we have an x, and then we have a y. So our final answer would be 13xy plus x plus y. Number 24, you need to distribute. Everything inside this whole quantity gets that subtract. So x squared minus 9. Then you need to do a subtract 10x squared. Subtracting a negative becomes a plus 3x, and then subtract a 7. And now we have an x squared and a negative 10x squared. X squared minus 10x squared is a negative 9x squared. We have a 3x right there. And then negative 9 plus negative 7 is either a negative 16 plus negative 16 or subtract 16. Either one is fine. And lastly, number 25, you're going to distribute. You have t to the fourth minus 2t. You have to subtract everything in this whole quantity. So you have to subtract a 3t to the fourth. Subtracting a negative becomes a plus 3t squared, and then subtracting a 1. And I'm going to combine like terms and put it in standard form. T to the fourth and a negative 3t to the fourth will be a negative 2t to the fourth. We have a negative, a 3t squared. So we will add 3t squared, a negative 2t, and then a negative 1. So your final answer, negative 2t to the fourth plus 3t squared minus 2t minus 1.